Hi, I'm Laura Adlington. You might recognise me from a famous white tent last summer. But today I'm swapping the tent for my gorgeous new Benchmarx kitchen, and I'm going to be showing you how to make my famous lemon and elderflower cake. For this cake I use equal quantities of butter, sugar, eggs and flour. So we're going to start by weighing our eggs. I've got 6 large eggs going in here, and they weigh exactly 400 grams. So we're going to need 400 grams of butter, sugar and flour. So we'll start by going in with our sugar. And then we need 400 grams of butter to go in there as well. I'm using unsalted butter because I like to add the salt in afterwards to taste, but I always recommend using real butter because I think you get a much fluffier, more rich tasting cake. Right, so now we've got our butter and our sugar in the bowl. You need to cream your butter and sugar for between 5 and 10 minutes. We want to get it really light and pale and fluffy, and that is what is going to get the most air into the cake and make it really lovely in texture. So we're going to scrape it down every now and again as it's mixing. This is where you need to have patience with this, but it's worth it. Okay, so it's much lighter now and it's a lot easier to manage, and it's a bit paler in colour, as you can see, because we've really beaten the butter. So now it's time to add our eggs. I like to crack my eggs into a bowl separately rather than add them straight into the bowl, just because it's another opportunity to get air into the mixture. So we've got 6 large free-range eggs in here, and I'm just going to give them a whisk with a fork and beat them before putting them into our batter. Okay, so we're going to add the eggs gradually, and then when they're fully incorporated, we'll add a bit more. I love that noise. Okay, time for more eggs. If it does start to curdle at this stage, don't worry, because as soon as we add the flour in, it'll all come together. Okay, our eggs are in. So now it's time to add our dry ingredients. And just like with the butter and sugar, we're going in with 400 grams of self-raising flour. And we're going to add in 2 teaspoons of baking powder as well, just to give it a really nice rise and lift. I always sieve in my flour to stop the mixture going lumpy, but it also is just another opportunity to get lots of air in. So if you can, try and do it from a height. Okay. So I'm going to then add in the 2 teaspoons of baking powder, which gives it, again, another lift. And a pinch of salt. And you just need a little pinch, which just brings out the sweetness in the cake. So again, we'll sieve it from a height, get lots of nice air in that flour. And then this is the bit where the flour tends to go everywhere. We get a nice dusting. So we try and do it in a short, sharp burst. So now that our flour's in, we're going to go in with our vanilla extract, some lemon juice and zest, and our elderflower cordial. So you can use between 2 and 4 lemons, depending on how lemony you like it. I really love a punchy lemon flavour, and I think if you're going to do it, you should go for it, but it's completely up to you. And it's the same really with the elderflower cordial. And now I'm going to go in with about 6 tablespoons of elderflower cordial. Okay, so that's everything now in the mixer. And we're going to give that one final mix before we get it in the oven. The key at this point is to not overwork it. So we've really beaten the butter and the sugar and the eggs, but now we're really just incorporating all those last ingredients and kind of more folding them in. So you can see the air bubbles and how light this batter is, and the smell of lemon and elderflower is coming through really nice, really punchy. It smells beautiful, and it's the texture and consistency we want. So they're now ready for our pans. I'm using a cake release spray just because it's really quick and easy, but you can use butter. The key to getting a nice even layers is obviously to make sure that your cakes are the same size. I use an ice cream scoop as a rough guide to start with to weigh out the batter, so I know how many scoops are in each. And then I do actually weigh the pans after as well to make sure that I've got an even amount in each, and then that's going to give you nice identical layers. So now I've weighed out each pan, so they've got the same amount of mixture in each, and I'm just going to use an offset spatula to just level them out. I like to use lots of little pans, so I've got 4 8-inch tins here rather than one big one, just because they cook quicker, but also if you cook one big cake then it tends to be really dry because you're trying to cook so much, it ends up really dense. So doing it this way and having 4 small ones means that you get a really light and fluffy cake and even layers. Now it's time to put them in the oven. I put my oven on a low temperature and cook for longer because that means that you get a nice even top rather than a big bump on the top. So we're going to back these in for 160 and check them after about 25 minutes. So the cakes are baking in the oven, and I've had a quick wipe down because I'm trying my best to keep the kitchen clean because it's all new and pristine at the moment. And while the cakes are cooking, I'm going to make the filling. So I thought I'd do something a little bit different to the normal buttercream filling. This is beautifully light and packed full of flavour. So it's a mascarpone, double cream, icing sugar, lemons and elderflower all going into the same bowl. So we're going to start with our mascarpone. We've got 500 grams of this going in. 2 pots. Okay, so we've got 500 grams of mascarpone cheese in our bowl. And then I'm going to go in with about 350 grams of double cream. So now we're just going to give that a good whiz together to make sure we don't get any lumps. So now that's combined and it's thickened a little bit, we're going to go in with our icing sugar. And I'm going to put in 250 grams. And we're going to give it another whiz. Okay, so now we've got the base of the filling done, it's time to add in the flavourings. So I'm going to be adding in the juice of about 2 to 3 lemons and then about 4 tablespoons of elderflower cordial, but you can use as much or as little as you like. Juicy. So that's 4 tablespoons of the elderflower cordial in, and we've got the juice of 2 lemons. I'm just going to give that a nice mix. All right, now that that's all mixed, it's time to taste it. I think it needs a tiny bit more lemon. So we'll go in with just 1 more half. Give it a mix and then we're done. It's delicious. You get the creaminess from the mascarpone, but the lemon and the elderflower really breaks through and cuts through that sweetness. It's really delicious. So now we just need to wait for our cakes to finish cooking and then cool completely before we're going to add the filling and assemble the cake. Okay, so now the cakes are out of the oven, they're looking lovely and golden. We're just going to leave them in the pans for a couple of minutes to cool, and then we'll take them out of the pans and put them on the cooling rack to cool completely. Okay, so our cakes have cooled and we've got our mascarpone filling in a piping bag, and now it's time to get them stacked. So we're just going to fill each layer with the mascarpone filling, stack each layer on top, and then go round it again with the filling. Stack, and then 1 more, and then I always put the last one on bottom down, so you've got a really nice flat top there, which will help us get that nice crumb coat effect. So now, using our turntable, I'm just going to fill in the gaps that I've missed. Okay, so now that we've got the cake stacked, we're going to just take a thin metal scraper and scrape off the excess filling, using this at a 45-degree angle, really nice slow motion, scraping off the excess as we go. And that just gives you a really nice clean finish. And where there are holes or cracks in it, we can just go over those and fill those in with the leftover mascarpone cream when we're finished. So don't worry if you've got any gaps at all. Okay, so now we've got that finished semi-naked cake. It's a really rustic look and it's great and it's really achievable to do at home. And to finish it off, all we're going to do is add some fresh flowers. And there you have it, my delicious, easy to make lemon and elderflower celebration cake.